here with Hugo Anderson, the director of the new release Moreau, the film adaptation of the book The Island of Dr. Moreau by Wells. A few questions for you, Hugo. First off, how is the location scouting process for the movie? Tell me a little bit about that.
That's actually a funny question. So the first thing we kind of had to discover was whether or not we wanted to just go in the normal boring film setting and just go off of a green screen and try to generate all the images and do all that. And that's just not as fun. And we're trying to make, one of our big things was trying to make this movie a little bit more realistic and lifelike. So we actually decided to do it somewhere in a forest or some sort of area like that, or an isolated area. So we kind of, at first, we just did some research and kind of looked at some places that we thought could work. But then I thought back to that time in college, actually, when I visited Australia while I was studying abroad. And I remember just going through the forest one day. I was with one of my buddies, and we just ran into this creature. To this day, I don't know what it was. It was about my height. Looked kind of like a dog, except for the fact that it walked on two legs. And I know what you're all thinking back home. It's not a kangaroo, I promise. I know what they look like. Didn't have the pouch or anything like that. But anyway, so that actually led to a lot of the inspiration in what we did with this film. And we tried to make these creatures something that we actually felt like we could actually see somewhere in the wilderness. And like this creature, that I still have to figure out what it is at some point. But that's kind of where we led, and we ended up filming it in Australia. In a nice,
Good stuff. Interesting. So, what other changes did you make from the original book by Wells?
Well, I thought, as soon as I've moved it a century and a half into the future and completely changed the basic science of the film, I really had to edit everything else in order to be culturally consistent with today rather than from 1897. I believe that's the year. I don't actually have any idea. But, I thought it would be interesting to set the entire thing in a judicial setting, which is how our society determines whether something is ethically right or wrong. So centering it around an actual group of people trying to decide the ethical implications really puts the audience into the jury and allows them it forces them into a position of having to decide whether what's happening in the film is right or wrong.
Awesome. So when it comes to what we see in the film, how much of it was real and how much was computer animated?
Well, Hugo, the director, he wanted to really keep everything as real as possible. We use very little green screens, as he said. So we use prosthetics. We use prosthetics, contacts. We kept them really subtle. So we would change the eyes. We would change the cheekbones so that there was obviously an animalistic feel, but without it being in your face. We also changed a lot of noses and lips in that fashion, and it just overall kept it much more believable and realistic. So everything was real.
That's awesome. A final question for you. What was it like working with the actors?
Well, working with actors is usually terrible in some way or another, but this one, it was a lot of fun. The kids, since a lot of the people who actually got the prosthetics were children, were very impatient, but I expected nothing less. You can't really have a kid sitting still for more than half an hour, let alone 2 or 3 to get prosthetics put down, and they also really hated the glue. They just could not deal with that, and all the fake hair, they weren't happy, and I felt bad. But the lead actors were spectacular. They didn't have as much makeup, so theirs were simple in and outs. They were used to it, but they're just such nice people. I gotta love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Jude Law is just such a charmer. It was a great time. It was a great experience.